Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry it's been a little bit since I put up a video. I've been busy. Uh, in mid-July, or no, it was the end of July, I had my last dose of the Koya phase 1 and the follow-up with that. So I am completed the phase 1, and I do have a little more strength on my left side, amazingly. Good luck. I mean, for someone with ALS, that's pretty amazing. Now, I am the person that responded the best per the research neurologist, so considering I'm a genetic patient, that's good. The people that are sporadic with ALS did well. So they're going to do the FDA, the board, they have a talk for Koya 2, that next section of the testing, and hopefully phase 3 happens, and hopefully it becomes available out to the process. So with neurology stuff, it's not quite as quick as they do for cancer. So cancer patients, and that board has this streamlined, it's a little bit easier. But ever since the opiate crisis, I think the FDA slowed the approval down. So I'm hoping that they get backed with some of the study stuff and streamline things. You know, the Healy platform has been awesome. It just takes, you know, on average $50 million for medications to get into it and to have things tested on multiple people. So it's ALS is not a impossible disease, it's just an underfunded disease. So getting the funding in for effective treatments is important, to trial them. You know, organizations like ALS Association will donate. I think their largest donations are usually $1 million, which is huge. I mean, the ALS Walk makes a huge help, and that raises money for that kind of stuff, as well as care for ALS patients. And I am going to have a team. So the Tall and Skinny with 6 shots. It's my coffee order, but yeah, wasn't that much of a drinker. Never was. But coffee, yes. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'll put some information once I get the site up, hopefully, you know, maybe in a week. I have been busy, I swear. So when I had I was on the chemo, and I had the spasticity attack that was terrible. You know, I now have Valium when I start having that, the starts of it, and I have to watch for any infections like UTIs. And, you know, definitely, you know, the infections can, it's interesting, like, you know, you had like older people, you know, like the older generation, if they had a UTI, you might notice they get confused. It's interesting if you have a neurological disease, sometimes the UTIs can worsen symptoms. So my spasticity is still there, and it's, you know, it's the thing. Spasticity keeps weak muscles moving still, but if it gets too much, it gets too painful because it's cramping down on nerves and muscles and pulling things tight. So I had, you know, this is around the time of the year that my sister that passed last November had the discovery of the metastasis of the brain tumor from her breast cancer. So I have, you know, it's like the firsts. This has been the year of the firsts from last year when I lost 4 family members. So it's, you know, it was hard. You know, I think in between that and being on the drugs, one of them is a chemo type drug, getting over the heat, because, you know, Houston, Texas has had temperatures rivaling with the heat index of the Middle East. I mean, it was 115 earlier this week. Hot, and being sensitive to temperatures. So I was in last weekend, part of the week I was in Chicago, Yeah, it was kind of fun for a conference. So that was I thought it was going to be no ragweed, but apparently they had high ragweed as well. Is there a state in this country that has, the United States, that doesn't have ragweed? I'm too afraid to take the ragweed cure because I'm afraid I'm going to have an anaphylactic reaction, which is that, like when you swell up real big. Yeah, I mean, I have that problem sometimes anyways, but if you'll notice, my face is bigger right now because I am allergic. Yeah, you can have allergy reactions, it's environmental allergies, seasonal. It's like, sometimes people can get like a little sneeze, achoo, achoo. No, I get a swollen face. Life isn't fair. But my youngest gets her eyes, she's allergic to pine. So when pine starts coming around her eyes itch, she actually gets bumps on her eyes. They had to give her drops. But apparently allergic conjunctivitis is what they call it, can blind you. So, I mean, swollen face versus being blind from allergies. It's like, ooh, I don't know. My mom was the one that was allergic. My granddaddy was allergic. So it's something you inherit. It's interesting. So before I went to Chicago, we went and saw the new Barbie movie, which, I was like, okay, kids, my daughter, my little one, and my had a friend go see the Barbie movie with her. It was actually cute. I mean, it kind of, discussed, it made me laugh when they made the whole horror thing about cellulite and, basically, ticking off Barbie for the unreality of bodies, and talking about the patriarchy, talking about this. It was a funny, light movie that didn't, took on some issues, but nothing that was terrible or that. It was kind of funny. The ending part was really funny. And, saw the movie, what was it? The Sound of Freedom. And I was looking at it, my friend had told me it's great. And I was looking at it and it's like, that's too clean of a story. So you find out that it's been funded by some elders of the Mormon Church, and it's been going around for this time. The person that's saying it did testify among Congress, but the stories weren't reality of that. It just blended in nicely. So a touch of QAnon, they only got $10 from me. It's like, ay. So want to see Oppenheimer. That's like, it's a movie. It's about the physicist that started the atomic bomb in Los Alamos. My granddaddy was in Los Alamos as my mother and her siblings. And in our family, it was always, take your calcium, take your calcium. Why would you take your calcium? It's an antidote. Hearing stories as my granddaddy was older, talking to my cousin, that, there were families that were there that got murdered because they knew too much. So it was to keep your mouth shut. And being descended from someone, my granddaddy was in the U.S. Army. He was a chemist. It's just heavy karma, you know what I mean? I mean, I know they built that and it was to end the war. It's just people died. I mean, what happened in Hiroshima was awful. It's kind of like I went and when I was able to work, I was a nurse, and I always worked for non-for-profits. I don't know, my idea is to heal for life, or if somebody's dying later in my career. I did hospice nursing. It's just, so I don't know, with all the emotional buildup of, I once said, he built an A-bomb, that's terrible. My mom said, save the world, save the country. It's like, it was a very strong reaction from my mother. I don't know, just imagine, I mean, what if our family was murdered from having knowledge of this stuff? I mean, that's a scary thought. The World War II brought out some, viciousness in our country. I mean, the United States has a legacy of freedom in some, but it's a bloody country in other ways. So, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. I still, I want to see it. I'm just kind of trepidation of actually, you know, seeing that. I mean, my granddaddy was part of the U.S. Army, so it's just the U.S. government. He's just part of the U.S. government. That's how they look at that stuff. It's not like, ooh, you're a star. Even though he had, a wall full of plaques awarded from the United States government and the United States Army. I look at where my family's lived. It's always been like something with warfare stuff. It's like, ugh. But we're from Texas, so, it started there. Not surprising with all of the stuff going on in Texas, huh? Oh my God, the stuff at the border. Awful, 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 hideous. Breaks my heart. It's just, but I do another type of advocacy, and I speak up against gun violence because I'm a gun violence survivor. And went to a conference for that, which was lovely. I had Portillo's, I had a beef sandwich, and then I had a Chicago dog. I love Luminelli's pizza. Oh my God, so good. The vegetarian pizza for Luminelli's is probably the best pizza I've ever had. Now, of course, I've had New York pizza, and I know people are like, oh, I love New York pizza versus, Chicago pizza. The way Luminelli's is, it's a thin crust with just the layers of things. That's what's delicious. And New York pizza's great too. I mean, yum, the big old slice. It's just that I like the vegetarian pizza. So it was really nice. It was a lovely conference, banquets. I was worried about traveling through the airport independently. I figured out, because I can still walk, so I figured out that I can stand. They treat canes, I have a wooden cane, and they treat canes like, oh my God, are you going to be some kind of cane terrorist? I don't know. But when you have to take off your shoes, I was always wearing, whenever I'm on something like that, I have to watch my ankles. My left ankle is weak, and when I'm real spastic, I don't have to worry about wearing my AFO brace. It's the brace that's got a metal part, and it has another piece of metal up, and you strap it, and that keeps you from moving your thing. It gives you more strength. When I'm spastic, my body naturally does that stiffness, and it's hard to get the shoes on and off, and going through taking them off and getting them on. This time I wore flip-flops, which can be kind of dangerous, but it was a good day. But I put my socks on in between so I could walk when you have to do and hold your arms up. I thought about that. It's like holding your arms up. What's gonna happen when I can't move like that? And anyways, got through, rolling thing, this, that. It wasn't a hard time. I mean, I did okay. Did an early morning one, because that way I figured it wouldn't be as crowded in the same way. It had people, but it's more the people that work for the airlines. And I successfully did that. I got my combat boots on. Oh no, sorry, Doc Martens. In my teens, I wore combat boots. I only gave it up when I had my oldest daughter because, I didn't want someone to say, your mom wears combat boots. But now I wear Doc Martens, and it's comfortable. So got there, they had shuttles, so I got into the room, and there was a delegation that was going to go out and ask me, you want to go to dinner? And I realized I don't feel so good. It's like I have to plan in the breaks. And I think everybody should plan in some breaks. I mean, you shouldn't do something and be like balls on the walls, doing everything, getting everything done, doing this, that. What's the point in having a vacation or going to a conference? You want to be able to be comfortable, rested and open to whatever the conference brings. So did that and ordered Instacart. And okay, so I put Diet Coke liters, for the days I'd be there. And they ended up not having the liters, but he's like, do you want this or that? And I didn't see my phone. And he bought me 5 20 ounces instead of giving me a 6-pack of Diet Coke. So that was like $3 more. But I had peaches. I love peaches. Protein drinks, which, I use that as a cheat, you know, in between meals, I'll have a protein drink. The protein really helps my energy levels, you know, now that I have ALS. Um, and, you know, just some bananas and stuff, you know, sodas for the thing. I'm going to visit my cousin in Mexico City soon, and I don't think I'll have a problem because I drink room temperature diet soda all the time. Tell me it's not good for me. Yeah. Tell me this and that. Yeah. You know, I won't try to do Splenda stuff because I hear it splits DNA. That's terrible. But, you know, I already have a terminal disease. I'm still just living the life I have left as loud as I can, right? But, you know, I don't want my blood sugars to go up and have my diabetes cause a inflammation and stuff. You have to be careful. So I did that. It was just really, you know, I ordered I swear the Portillo's beef sandwich is, you know, once dipped is so, so good. Oh, that was wonderful. And then I slept, woke up, attended day 1 of the conference, and that was extremely moving, extremely moving. Hearing people share their stories and seeing what they call the spirit moving and seeing the connections that can happen is, I'm honored. I'm honored. I met a lady there that I know I've crossed paths in the early 1990s when, you know, I had friends that died of AIDS, and I had HIV, and I lost a lot of friends. No wonder I ended up, you know, going into hospice later in my career. But her face was familiar, my face was, it's like, I know we've known each other. That's so cool, isn't it? So, you know, just that. I'm supposed to go out with some people that next night, and paths missing. It took me a while to schlep myself around. The McCormick Center is a large place. So I got back to my room, ended up ordering Portillo's Chicago dogs. I love Chicago hot dogs. I just love them, love them, love them, love them, love them, love them, love them. And then I fell asleep. Woke up for the next day, and the Texas team was there, and it was really nice. I mean, hard subjects, case studies and such, but it was absolutely beautiful. And Saturday, there was a big gala, more sessions beforehand, and Sunday morning, I ended up, early morning flight, went out, got in, got home, got picked up, it was all good. So got unpacked finally. We officially adopted a new kitten. His name is Binks. He is a tuxedo cat, and it's my daughter's cat. You know, it's one thing I've been teaching her about animals. Those relationships are important, but, you know, the responsibilities, but considering the ALS, there's a point where, you know, it's harder for me to do things, and she really needs to take responsibility. So she has, and yesterday I took him out, and it was early, and it was so beautiful. I mean, the time is starting to change, you know, it's like the sun's coming up a little bit later, it's getting darker a little bit earlier, so it's like, oh, seasons. It's still hot as Hades. We have cool fronts, but, you know, brings it down to what, 90 something? Entering the dangerous time to be in Houston with hurricanes. You know, we usually have our hurricanes end of August up until October. And so did that, getting ready, you know, school ready for my little one. Oh my God, is it expensive, clothes for kids? Eee. But got it taken care of. Life. And her birthday's coming up, so she'll officially turn 11. Kind of cool. On the fly, my oldest is coming down for some testing, and so I get to be grandma or Oma. I'm an Oma, okay? Abuela, you know? So I'll get to watch her for 2 days while my oldest is going through getting an EMG, and they think it's more related to her autoimmune disease that she has. You know, there's always that big question, do you have C9? And today, my little sister, who's been involved in the all FTD study, my father had FTD, which is frontal temporal lobe dementia. He had some MND, motor neuron disease, symptoms with that. And there's ALS with FTD, and there's FTD with symptoms of ALS as well. When you have the C9orf72 genetic mutation. So we entered that, and my sister did not want to know her status. I kind of found out when I got diagnosed with ALS. But she found out my little sister has 9, my baby sister has 9 kids. Catholic, you're either Mormon or Catholic. She's Catholic. And she found out she's negative. The relief of that, she's still going to be in the study. They'll still watch the children. She's like a counterpoint to me. We're the only 2 left in our origin family. So she's coming down she's actually coming in the day of my youngest birthday. 11. So probably I told my little sister if she doesn't have ALS, we'll have a big cake. If she has ALS, we'll get her a small cake. So I've got to go to Costco and order a big cake. I don't know, it's just good news today, So it's kind of that. So just kind of, rested. Then I went and did a lot of activity. I figured out, my face was swollen, my teeth were hurting, and I have a sinus infection, so the prednisone is giving me more energy. I don't know, it's just been lovely. Emotionally wise, the conference I went to was really addressed some gun violence and the issues surrounding that and the people surrounding that. And, Black and brown people have twice as much exposure to gun violence and deaths from gun violence as the rest of us. It's like there's honor the Second Amendment, but there's a point where, there should be some background checks. Universal background checks. It doesn't matter what party you're in, it's just a human thing. Gun sense and that kind of stuff is just a human thing. So I use my story, and it's really, it's a heavy trauma one. And I don't really want to throw trauma at everybody. It's like, look at me. No, but I use my story to illustrate the need for laws like a red flag law. That's or they call extreme protection law. Lots of states have them. Not all of them have them. I look at places like Australia. They had the horrible things and they got rid of them. But you have to take care of, the same situation, because it doesn't matter if you don't take care of the, intergenerational trauma that people are having or the issues they're having and make them whole people. They'll just use something else, right? Saw Dr. Akil Bashir, he's from USC, speak, and that man is amazing. If you want to look at programs to reduce violence, whether they're in the hood, whether they're in different areas, because it's been replicated just with a few tweaks from, was it, I don't know, it was something, I can't remember, was it Venezuela or Colombia, that they used it there. They used it in London, they used it around the world in African country and such, and it was effective. So I don't know, just looking and respecting people, that's, opening conversations with people and, being on a human-to-human contact, interaction, it's important, it's kind of the things that people need to do, othering people is a bad thing. I think sometimes people with chronic diseases or terminal diseases feel like they're othered because they can't do things that they used to do. They can't maybe get there, or, as you progress in the disease like ALS, you may lose your voice, you may not be able to, move and breathing on a vent. I imagine the fear and the othering you're feeling at that point. You know, some people look at people that are sick and have a disability and other them. You know, they don't count the same way, you know, or there's something wrong with that person. Never other another person, please. You know, sometimes we just don't understand people, and that's okay. You know, if you hear the little kitten, he's not being killed. He just had, he was neutered, and he's a kamikaze kitten, polydactyl tuxedo, and you know, they're not supposed to move too much. Take him out and do that, and he's like jumping up to the cat tree and falling. You know, it's just like, please. I don't want to have to take a cat emergency because something fell out. Ah, you know, it's scary. You know, poor little thing needs to stay in a closed place. And of course, you know, he doesn't understand that. I mean, I wouldn't either, would you? You'd lock me up, even though I have food and water in my litter box and I have a warm, comfortable place to sit. No, I need people. Yeah, so I think I'm feeling a little better because I have been around people. Yeah. Grief processes in different ways. You know, we had our oldest cat. We have 2 now. We had 3 before. Our oldest cat passed away about 2 weeks ago. And that was really sad, you know. My youngest took it hard because this is the first pet she remembers that passed away. So, you know, she had the perfect mom for talking about grief and loss. You know, besides the fact that, you know, I have these random times when multiple family members die. I don't recommend it one bit. It's hard and it's painful. But we're going to do a Day of the Dead little cat and paint it for our cat Mojo. So she seems to be processing it okay. You know, Mojo was my cat. So it's sad, you know, it's like sadder when you're it's like, okay, a cat versus a human, you know, it's like at that time, you know, just kind of feeling sad, you know, worn down, you know, probably the sinus infection in addition to being on the Koya program, experimental drugs that are actually drugs. One of the drugs is used for chemo, the other drug is used for autoimmune diseases. So, you know, just those medicines always made me feel real tired, you know, exhausted easy. When I was on them, afterwards I'd have a boost of energy. But you combine that with grief and all that, that was hard. So that's why you didn't get a lot of videos. I mean, why go around and spread misery? Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, clinical drug trials are hard. I went and I had a nurse. I was in the Johns Hopkins, I think, started it. The neuroinflammation level test thing. They were doing a study for 3 years. I had a nurse contact me, and I'd just given a bunch of blood. I started that week, which was 2 weeks ago, with giving a bunch of blood for the clinical drug trial I was in. And I ended the week with my ALS. My ALS clinic was August 4th. So I ended the week with my ALS clinic, and they drew a lot of blood. And then they were going to do that because when they do the neurofilament thing, they draw like, I think 12 vials. And yeah, it's just 3 cc's each way, but that's, you know, still a chunk. And I wasn't feeling good. So, but I went, and the nurse sent me a text. Okay, I was going to give her some of my palliative nurse books. I'm not going to use them. But she ended up sending me another text inviting me to the Houston Atheists group. Not that I have anything against atheists. Everyone has the right to their beliefs. But just as much as having someone knock on your door like a Jehovah's Witness, you know, bless them. I mean, you know, they have the right to believe what they do. But I don't like anyone shoving anything down my throat. Grew up with a mother that was involved in, if you've seen the Shiny Happy People, I think it's 4 parts on Amazon Prime. Talks about the Duggars and they're, you know, the part of the Baptist church. They ended up getting into the IA or IBP, this thing that's, you know, ways to treat your children. You know, yeah, had my mother got involved in that cult, and I was baptized when I was 5. I can't tell you I've been baptized more times than most people, probably because the be meek thing didn't fit with me. And I had a horrible experience, and kind of tried to drown a kid in hot tub and say, "Ooh, that's baptism." Just having my mom have the groups that were talking about Kiss and how they were devil music. I can remember I was like, 5 or 6, and I was looking out the window and I saw a punk with a mohawk. It's just like I knew that they weren't doing that. Dad was Catholic. My mom went evangelical, into kind of like a Jesus hippie, into this stuff. So that kind of thing, ugh. So I have a little bit of a religious trauma. So whether you have religion or you don't, just don't shove it down my throat. And as a nurse, a retired nurse, that crosses a line. It's like I never would place my beliefs or my thing within a patient's thing. It's not right. I mean, if you both believe the same thing, that's great. And if you feel comfortable talking about that, that's great. When people are death and dying, you talk about people with a lot of different beliefs, but you don't ever advocate something for someone. That just bothered me. And I don't care. It could have been the Catholic group. It could have been the Buddhist group. It could have been the Muslim. It's just crossing that line. And when you're a genetic patient, and some of the people with this disease part, with this mutation, will have frontal temporal lobes. That's where your personality is, and their intake of information is very different than it would be another person. So it's just like vulnerable populations. That's just not cool. So I got out of that study, and everyone, my best friend and my husband, are like, "Good, you've been a lab rat. You've done all of this. You have done so much." And I'm like, "Yeah, but if I have the disease, I need to do something." It's just I have 2 veins left after being so much lab draws that I've had messed up veins. It's like a 15-month trial basically. Started out they were taking blood every week, went to every 2 weeks, and this time it was like monthly. But it really damages your veins. So that's what's going on. I've just been that. So I'm still, loving being at the conference. The fact that I was able to do it, I was so worried I was able to do it. Then we had our ALS Association meeting yesterday, and it's like you see other people getting in and having a harder time walking. It's like I think this Koya preserved me for a bit longer, which is wow. I just wish everyone could have it. I wish we could raise money to donate to that. Too bad I didn't win that $1 billion lottery. Someone in Florida did, because I would have done that. I would have funded that. Oh, the wishes, wish upon that falling star. I don't know. I think getting through this next week, birthday parties. My daughter's having a little, found on Canva, the little pool party, and has a little flamingo pool float. And so my daughter wanted flamingos on the cupcakes, so got that taken care of. It's like 3 things, step to click a click, get the stuff. And a couple of years ago, I got one of those big bags of like goodie bags. And until they go out, as long as she has birthday things, I'm going to put those in those goodie bags. She's like, "I've had stars for years." Yeah, look at inflation. You're not getting anything new. I don't know. So my oldest is coming down. I get to play with the grandbaby. My husband gets to take 3 little girls to a water park. I'll miss the lazy river. There's a lot of things I can do in the water park, but the lazy river I can do. It's just something. I mean, my best friend is recovering from surgery, so it's hard to do things, surgery wise, when you want to do things and you can't because you're not healed yet. And it's hard when you have a chronic terminal disease, when you want to do things and you just can't do it anymore. So I'm going to concentrate on what I can do. I still have fear about, and that was the thing. So, having messages with someone that lives in another part of the country that's like, you don't know what it's like going to a big city and you can't talk and you can't, you know, move. It's like, no, I don't understand how that is. Because my view of large cities is there are lots of little communities within that large city. So there's all these little things that, you know, it's like, it's not just, you know, huge, massive thing. I live in Houston, Texas. It's the fourth largest town or city in the United States. I think LA is above us, but yeah, getting closer. There's still little communities all within it. You know, it's kind of funny. The railroad track thing is kind of true. But I don't know. I mean, I looked at him and I'm thinking, so he's lost things. He has the eye tracker. They told me with my eye problem, you know, it's like I have the moving eyes at times, especially when I'm looking down. I don't know if I'll be able to use it when I lose my voice, if I do. Because you never know when your time is. I don't think mine's anytime soon. But went and he has a ventilator. I mean, I've chosen not to get a feeding tube and I've chosen not to have a ventilator. I took care of patients with G tubes and I took and J tubes, and I took care of patients with ventilators, and that's not the life I want. I mean, if I can't eat, if I stop eating, that's natural death. I mean, if I stop breathing, that's natural death. You know, it's like, as hard as it is going through this, and especially if I start having symptoms of FTD and my brain starts to atrophy in different ways, I won't be me. I don't know. I mean, it's like, there's, you know, that conversation, it's like, and I didn't want to tell him that. I mean, how rude is that? Hi. I think you're very brave. I think that you are amazing to be able to continue like that, to keep on life like that. But I do not want to live like that. I mean, that's kind of rude, huh? Deep thoughts, you know me. So, gotta finish doing a couple little things, putting those treat bags in because my daughter really wants one, gotta admit. And she'll have the party. Thankfully, I'm still functional enough to watch a 2.5-year-old. I may not be very fast catching her, but I'm not gonna take her anywhere dangerous. And little's gonna go to school, so it'll be quieter around the house. I'll probably be lonelier. I love talking to my 10, almost 11-year-old. It's so interesting. Generation Alpha is gonna be something different. Closest to Generation X, so maybe that's why I like talking to her. No, I don't know. Life is going around. Seasons are changing. You know, I'm going through the year of the firsts, and knowing that love is not something that ends. Love is an energy. We have never found out a way to destroy energy. So love can't be destroyed. It lives on. Yeah. So I know that's kind of dark, isn't it? Yeah, let's talk about it. My next, so I thought this is my Sisters of Mercy t-shirt for this last concert they did, which was awesome. It was really awesome. And now September 14th, there will be the Mission UK is coming to Texas. So I get to see them. Music of my childhood, I love. Stevie Nicks was there in Dallas on the Sunday I came in. It's like, as much as I love Stevie Nicks, traveling through the airport takes a lot of energy. You know, it's, when I flew United, and they had in the Hemispheres, that little magazine they had the leader and the person, Brian Walsh, that does IMALS. And, you know, I keep saying I need to do the TSA check. I mean, they still put you through everything, right? X-rays, that, but you don't have to take your jacket off. I'm thinking, how do you do it when you're in a chair? You know, though I don't think I take my power chair through a airport because they tend to break them. You know, there's other electric chairs you can get that won't be as supportive, but I don't know. I'll figure it out. Probably just a transport chair. You know. And it's like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's my granddaddy or my dad. Of why they used to always bomb swap me. Annoying. But, you know, but he was talking about the pre-check. So before I go to Mexico, I will get the pre-check and get that set up. Yeah, when I was looking at it, it cost $236, but they're saying it only costs $75. So I will see. Yeah, maybe they're talking about $236 with the passport. I don't know. But anyways, we'll get that done. I'm going to look forward to resting, enjoying the family. Little sister's coming down. Her in-laws are having their 50th wedding anniversary. Ooh, celebrate. Yeah, my great-grandparents had the 75th. I mean, how many people live to be married for 75 years? That's awesome. Had a teapot or a little teacup from it. You know, they have little teacups to celebrate it. But we're going to celebrate that on Labor Day weekend. But there's going to be a lot of cake, a lot of fun. You know, my little one's going to start school. It's going to be things of a lot. So my goal is to get the cousins to see each other. I'm hoping I can get the my sister that passed, Rebecca, her kids to come see the other cousins, kind of keeping families together. You know, it's important. So we'll do that, celebrate, and then what do you want to do for Labor Day? I want to not labor. I can't believe how many babies are born on Labor Day. Think about it. Celebration of people, you know, it's a good celebration. But I'm going to celebrate on relaxing and eating some yummy food and what they used to say, no white after Labor Day. Wearing something white. So no matter what, I hope this video was a little bit entertaining. It's not really exciting. And due to the sensitivity of the conference and where I was, I'm not going to put pictures of it up. But I hope you have a wonderful day. May it be getting cooler where you're at, or warmer, depending on what part of the world you're in. And I hope you find a piece of today to see beauty, to have a little bit of joy, and, you know, take care of yourselves. You know, no matter what, we can get busy at this time. We can have a lot of things going on at any time of your life. But it's okay to take a pause. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest when you need to rest. It's okay to say no. Take care of you. You know, find that piece of beauty in your day today. All right? All right. I'll see you guys hopefully soon. I mean, hopefully I'm not going to be pulled apart and grieving like I was and having 1,000 things, because, you know, I'm a person that overdoes it. You know, it's like the hyper independence thing, and then I just think I can do, you know, put my mind to it, and you just have to watch the body, because the body goes, hey, no. All right, you guys, find the beauty in your day. It's there, even though it looks dark or something or that, you know, just, you know, whether it be a prayer, whether it be a meditation, whether it be a book, whether it be music, whether it be a little flower or growing up from the cement, anything you find today that's beautiful, find it. And thank you so much for watching this. And if you'd like to subscribe, all right, and you guys have a wonderful day. All right, bye.